Hi, I'm Andrew. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to look at a very simple rack to build that allows you to use a drum rack, fill it with samples, whatever samples you want, drums, snares, whatever, kick, snares, bass, and then using a simple macro, just vary the samples, switch them out so that you can have a rhythm playing in the background, a MIDI rhythm, MIDI clip, and just change your samples at ease and see which samples work well with which rhythm. We'll have a quick listen now, excuse some of the non-rhythms that might come up, and then we'll look at how to build this track. It's very simple and how to use it. Got a simple loop running here. I've got a series of patterns which I've programmed and I can mix and match them as I wish. We have a drum rack here. We open this up. We have a drum rack filled with two banks of samples. Notes here C1. That's the most important part. You can't put your rhythm notes here as you would typically in a drum rack. You simply put your rhythm for this instrument, in this case kick, on the C1. So here are the four notes playing on the C1. If we look at the snare, just repeats itself. I have again a drum rack with two banks of snares, this bank here and this bank here, and the rhythm is played out here. Same for the hi-hat on the end here. So what's actually going on is that we're using this pitch function here, one of the MIDI effects here, with some settings to enable us to use a single macro to move through these. So if I am on plus 14 at the moment, if I pull this down, I change my kick. Very simple. So I can select which sample I want. I believe I can, in this rack, I can go up to 47 samples. You can see the little dot here. So we've gone up to 40, the last one. You could, in theory, increase this range. You could fill all the banks with kicks if you wanted to. I've just used in this example two banks, 47 different kicks. As I say, same thing repeats itself here with the snare. On this bank here, snare grip playing. So it's a very simple idea, just allows you to play around with patterns, MIDI patterns, and change out the samples until you get something that you feel works together. Okay, not really much more to say, very simple. I'll just show you now how we can put this rack together. So first thing we're going to need then is an instrument rack. We'll drop that in here. An instrument racks, and then we need a pitch. Well, actually we'll drop the drum rack in first. We'll put the drum rack in here. Just drop a drum rack in. Then we can go to our MIDI effects, and we will need here the pitch, and just drop that in front of the drum rack. Now we can click here and open up our macros. We'll only be using one, so we can reduce this down to one macro. We simply need to make some settings here. So we need to set the range here to C1. Scroll that up gently. And so the lowest note is C1 to match the rack. We could go to C0, then it'll allow you to use these the matrix below, or the positions below C1 in the drum rack. We could make that C2 and go higher up. Most importantly, what I said in the explanation, your rhythm has to go onto this note. So the notes you put in for your rhythm has to go on C1 for this to work. Okay, so the range anyway, we set to 0. Then we can go up to our mapping here on the M, and we need to map the pitch here to our macro and set the range here, a minimum 0, and I had 47. If we come out of that now, we go 0, we're in this corner here, flashing. As I move this up, we move through the first bank of samples here, into the second bank of samples, and into the third bank of samples. So I actually had 3. I made a mistake in the intro. I thought I had 2. I had 3 banks of samples mapped. So we have 48 samples available. And that's it. It's all set up. We could rename this. Rename kick. Give it a color if we like. I think I had orange before. We then just simply have to go to our samples. Here have some kicks. Let's take a selection of samples. Let's just choose some random ones here. Just drop them in. There we go. I've filled that bank. We can go up here, get another bank of samples. Just take them randomly. Give it an eye to show what's going on. Turn you off for a second. So we'd best to click on these actually. Need to move those around, didn't do that very well. Let's drop those in a bit lower. There we go. So we have that one filled, that one's empty. As I say, just fill it with samples, whatever you like. Fill that one. So we've got that one filled, and that one filled. There's a bank there. It doesn't have to be kicks, of course, it can be anything. Any sample you like, you can drop in here. Okay, so now that's all filled. Put one more 808 in. Of course, once you have this built, you can then open this a little bit wider so we can actually see. I could rename this kick. I can then save using this here. This will then appear in my user library under instruments, instrument racks. You'll find this here, kick, and then of course you can just drag it out of your user library here. Here we go, instrument rack. You'll find it in here, and you literally just drag it out into a new channel, fill it with different samples, and off you go again. So let's introduce the there we go. Everything's working. Okay, that's really it. It's a very simple rack to build, as I say, but it's quite useful. It allows you to mix and match patterns here. I've got a series of MIDI patterns here that I just mix between. Turn that down a second. I just mix between and try and match my MIDI patterns to the samples I have here, so I get something that works together. Okay, anyway, that's it for today. Just a short one. Enjoy yourselves, take care, have a go, and see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.